We are judging by the cover, Captain America cover art of the 1970s. You know, the 70s were some strange days in the U.S., and, Vietnam War ending, Watergate, and then the bicentennial year of 1976 when Jack Kirby came back on the book. And the cover art of Captain America captures a lot of that strangeness in its own way. So let's just dive right into it. Like and subscribe, and here is number 10. Captain America 172. This is January 1974. Featuring the Banshee as the antagonist, killing the eardrums. You see Falcon, he's not having a great time of this. This is Gil Kane and John Romita Sr. at work, and that's unmistakable work right there. Captain America needs to block both of his ears. He's only blocking one of them. But man, Banshee, he's out for it in this one. I would hate to be a teammate of Banshee on the X-Men. I'd have to quit if he was around. I don't want to have my hearing destroyed just because this guy decides to raise his voice one day. So enough of that. That's part of the reason I think this comic is on my top 10. Okay, is my projected fear of Banshee's power, because I'd be tripping too. All right, here is number 9. Yes, this is Captain America 170, October of 73. So a lot of the same team. This is Kane and John Romita again. It's unmistakable work again. Moonstone, the original Moonstone, is the antagonist here. Interesting, me growing up as a comic reader, I didn't even know that there was a male Moonstone. I really only knew about the female one. She was in the Masters of Evil. That was right around the time, in the Avengers series when I started really reading comics as a kid. So this dude, male version of Moonstone, looking like he's stalking a handcuffed Captain America. This cover would make me think, oh man, what's going on with Cap? And Moonstone just kind of glowering over him. It's a cool image to me. This Moonstone was a thug who stole a moon rock, and you can see here it's even labeled Moonstone. So this dude with a funny haircut, his name is Lloyd Block, or Blotch. I'm sure it's Block. I remember later on he came back as a character named Nefarious, a super powered character, coming out of Count Nefaria in some way, same costume and so on. He has eye beams. I have a phobia about eye beams. I talked about Banshee and his sound powers. I'm even more afraid of anyone who can have eye beams shooting out there. I wouldn't want them looking at me. I don't care who you are. If you can shoot beams out your eyes, I'm out of there. I'm not fighting you. You're not going to be in my rogues gallery. All right. Anyways, we're going to move on. This is number 8. All right. Now, this is Captain America 174. It's right around the same time. So it's a lot of the same team, Gil Kane, John Romita Sr., Captain America and Falcon fighting the Secret Empire. Now, again, there might not be anything all that notable about this cover, but it's good action. Falcon just getting thrown to the side, and Captain America out there fighting against this big, I'm assuming that's a robot, okay? But what I love is number 1 of the Secret Empire on the screen, looking like Cobra Commander when he would wear his hood. And I'm sure you all know, it came out later that it was actually Richard Nixon. Okay, President Richard Nixon was the leader of the Secret Empire. I might be missing or skipping over some details, but anyways, oh man, Captain America looks like he's seen a ghost. So I just dig that cover. Now on to the next one. This is number 7. Number 7, Captain America 153. This is in 1972, June of 1972. And look at this. Falcon coming at Cap, quotation marks. Get up, crumb, so I can belt you. You ever heard Steve Rogers say that? Well, of course, hero or hoax. This intriguing cover is coming from the fact that it's not Steve Rogers. It is the fourth Captain America, who you can see in this iconic image wearing the white Ku Klux Klan looking outfit with the swastika armband, which we'll get into in a bit. That is him. He is the Captain America of the 50s, who they call William Burnside, and he comes up later again. But again, if I were to see this cover on the newsstand, this would immediately get my attention. Anyways, interesting stuff. Let's move on to the next one. This is Captain America 176, where Steve Rogers quits. All right. Now, once again, John Romita Jr. involved in this. The thing that I love about this cover is Thor's quote. Look what he says here. "Hold, Steve Rogers. Thou knowest not what thou dost." Again, if I was an Avenger, I would have a problem with Thor. I'd be like, really, dude? You've been around us long enough, man. You can cut the act. Okay, you don't need to talk like that, man. You're giving me a headache. He should know better at this point, just out of courtesy. Come on, Thor. But anyways, Steve Rogers walks out on the Avengers. Or rather, walks away from some of the Avengers. You see Iron Man there on the right, when he had his nose piece, his rare nose piece era right around this time. Yeah, so that was my number 6. Let's move on. This is number 5, and we're jumping ahead in time. This is in 1978, the end of 1978. And this is work by Ron Wilson and Bob Layton, right? Oh, damn, Bob Layton, of Iron Man fame. Yeah. The art style of this one, totally different than the ones we've seen up until now. I love this one. Look at the force of the Hulk's punch and, the impact on the shield. Captain America's body being forced through the wall, and the grimace on his face, the impact of that punch being taken. I still don't really understand fully how it works. I know vibranium and all that, but of course, this image was referenced also in posters for Brave New World, the new film with Sam Wilson, looking mildly irritated by Red Hulk's punch. I'm theorizing that Harrison Ford's Red Hulk was old geriatric Hulk, not really. It was his first time hulking out, so he didn't really know what he was doing. Maybe if this was Green Hulk punching Sam Wilson, it wouldn't have gone like this. Okay, but yeah. Anyways, it's a unique cover. It's an interesting one that I think would immediately catch your attention, and could have easily gone higher, I'm sure. But I'm going to move on to number 4. Now, this is a very, very, very stirring image, Death of a Hero. And again, if you didn't know what was going on here, you'd be a little shocked to see this image. And this really was the death of Captain America. However, it's not the death of Steve Rogers. This was the death of Roscoe Simons, okay, who was a part-time Cap taking over while Steve Rogers was done. Okay, and this was at the end of 1974. So who is that? We see Falcon and Red Wing. By the way, Red Wing. I always hated Red Wing. What kind of Falcon is that? I know my birds, and I know that's not a real Falcon. I kind of like what they did in the movies by making, him a drone-like device. I think that was a much better idea. Walking around with some bird. Come on. And then Nomad in the back. Nomad, who is AKA Steve Rogers. I love this cover. Again, Kane doing his thing, as always. Now, the interesting thing about this cover is this criminal called Gamecock, who's a Harlem crime lord, who dresses like the San Diego Chicken. Now, listen, Marvel writers. I don't know if y'all ever took a drive through Harlem. I'm sure you didn't see a lot of men dressed like Big Bird on the streets. So, you know, that was a reach. But I actually appreciate characters like this in their own ways. So, Gamecock, all right. Yeah. Let's just go beyond that. We're in our top 3. We're in the top 3. All right, now here is Captain America 147. This is in December 1971. We're going to the beginning of the decade. I love this cover. Captain America getting shot at by the Supreme Hydra while he just snatches his mask off. You know, I love it. He's kind of like he got catfished by a woman wearing a wig, just snatching that wig off. Like, what do you really look like under that wig? You know, he looks like a man who's you know, disappointed on a first date. All right. Nah, but seriously though, this is a dynamic cover. I think this is fantastic work. Gil Kane and Joe Sinnott. All right. And you know, all the chaos in the background. All these Hydra troops just getting laid out. You know, Supreme Hydra ends up being Kingpin's son, Richard Fisk, aka The Rose. You know, pretty interesting criminal gimmick in his own right. But Supreme Hydra, again, this is before my time, so kind of odd to see that he ended up being the Supreme Hydra, the big reveal in this issue. But anyways, I just love this cover. I think this is just fantastic work. Whatever you think of it, the artistry, the composition, the colors, the expression on Cap's face, I just love this cover. But we're gonna move on to number 2, and let's see now what you all would have thought if I'd forgot about this one. I'd mentioned the grand director earlier, Captain America 4, who is actually the Captain America of the 1950s. Okay, so this dude was named William Burnside. I think they retconned his name. I don't know. I don't think they gave him that name until they brought him back in the 2000s at some point. But this cover was by Keith Pollard and Al Milgrom. Keith Pollard, one of the trailblazers for African American comic book artists back in those days, and what he must have felt drawing this cover, looking like a Klan rally. And what I also love about this one is Captain America's pose. It looks like almost a hunched over, like resigned pose. Like he knows he has to fight this battle, but it's like, has it come to this? Why has it come to this? That's what it feels like when you see this this look from Steve Rogers. This cover always made this impact on me. And even the title there, If America Should Die. This is at the end of 1978. This is unlike a lot of the other 70s covers that we've seen. To me, this looks ahead of its time. This looks a lot more like the type of cover art you would see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years later. Terrific work though. And now, we are on to number 1. The number 1 cover of the 1970s. In my opinion, it's Captain America 184. This is the comeback of the Red Skull in 1975, the beginning of that year, just after he did away with Roscoe Simons, who was that perpetrating Captain America who got taken out. Just the issue before, the Red Skull here, holding Sharon Carter over his head, and Captain America jumping into action, Falcon flying up the side here. I just love everything about this cover, the ferocity of the Red Skull as well. The color contrast all over this cover as well just hits you like a brick. I don't know. Again, this is my personal favorite. When it comes to the cover art of the 1970s of Captain America, so many people could disagree. I don't know if there's one particular cover that stands out as the iconic one of the era, but for me, I just love everything about this one in issue 1. 84. So there you have it. That is my top 10. I didn't include any by Jack Kirby. I will say there was one cover I liked of his where the Red Skull has, several faces ensnared in his tentacles. But otherwise, I didn't really like the comeback for Kirby in the 1970s. And that time period could have been done better without it. Is that sacrilege? I'm sorry if it is. But there you go. Like and subscribe. Captain America, the 70s. It doesn't matter. We're going to cover a lot more cover art from other artists. Other characters. And let me know if there's any characters that you think should be covered. Say so in the comments. The Pop Culture Cosmonaut is out of here.